Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Guys on Sports.
Guys on Sports.
Wild Card Weekend is in the books.
Weekend.
Are you? Mark for some reason is didn't take his retard pills. So, Wild Card Weekend is in the books. If you lost a lot of bets like I did, touche. Guys just can't seem to finish out one of my parlays, and it's unfortunate. But Mark,
You missed that by one too, right?
I missed that one by one. Yeah.
And
A 5-touchdown parlay.
Cortland Sutton too.
Cortland Sutton.
I think I didn't look fully in depth at mine, but just like skimming, topically, I think I missed out on just Quentin Johnson too for long.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson screwed that up.
That was it.
We
man.
missed 2 parlays by 1 leg. I mean, 5 touchdown scores. It's pretty nice to hit 4 of those.
It is nice.
But I'll say this about Wild Card Weekend, since you don't want to talk about it. It kind of sucked. It really sucked. I was pulling for Tampa Bay.
Yeah. The one and only game that was half decent, and the team that I didn't want to win won.
I mean, terrible gaff there with the fumble. I don't know what was going on there. You got the motion. I don't know if the timing wasn't right. It looks like he didn't expect him to be right there, or maybe he stuck the ball out too quick
They
and
said
it hit him.
before that, so that's a rookie center. They think the rookie center
Snapped it late.
was just a tick off. And Baker, Baker's a seasoned vet. Baker's been there, done it. I mean, Baker's played with worse. Baker was in Cleveland for the longest time. You know what I mean?
Time. God bless him.
I mean, a lot worse. So, that wasn't Baker's fault. And Jalen McMillan can flat out fly.
Yeah, I tell you what, and Rocky didn't waste any time trying to pile on Baker. He just
That was ridiculous.
It's the X that he can't get over because he will fight to the death that they should have not kept him. It's just a joke.
I like how he keeps saying Baker, too. What does that mean? Throws for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns?
And gets to the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, Baker did Baker.
You wish you could lose in the playoffs, Rocky.
Right?
You wish.
Last time Cleveland went to the playoffs, who was at the helm?
Baker Mayfield.
Last time
he bakered them all the way to the divisional round.
Last time Cleveland ever won a playoff game, who was at the helm?
Baker.
Baker. I don't get the mindset. I know he said that, last week Cleveland had to sell out for the promise. If the promise is Deshaun Watson, you know what? Keep that promise.
Listen,
Whisper sweet nothings. Whisper.
The Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are like your friend in high school that never got a date. Okay? Yeah. And if you had that friend in high school that never got a date, and you fast forward 30 years, because that's basically what it is with the Browns, and they still haven't gotten a date, you wouldn't tell them, hey, man, go try to talk to Christy Brinkley, right?
Yeah.
You'd say, hey, that chubby girl at Starbucks that likes you, give her a shot. She's not Patrick Mahomes, but she's good enough.
I think the Browns probably recent success from the Cavs with LeBron. I think the Browns probably embody the city of Cleveland the most as a sports franchise.
Yeah.
And I liken the city of Cleveland in sports to like a D-list celebrity. Cleveland is like the Kathy Griffin of sports cities. If you think about it in that respect. It's like, could you listen to her?
Yeah.
Maybe. But as soon as you have an inkling of something else that's more important, gone.
You're out.
Yeah. So,
case in point, Baker Mayfield. All right. So with the playoffs on the way, I mean, we could talk daily, but I think it's for me and for our listeners and you guys that do listen and checking us out. We appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
Smash it.
There's a large number of you guys that are watching and viewing that aren't subs, so please do that. Check us out on all the socials at GON Podcast. But anyway, for you guys, we wanted to start touching on stuff, looking into next season, strategy, some way too early look ahead, stuff like that.
It's never too early for fantasy football, Phil.
Never too early. And then this never too early for bad takes. So, yeah, you could listen to this, write it down, throw it back in our face next season. If we're wrong, if we're right, we know how that goes. Most of the time, people don't say anything. But today, we're going to do our top 5 running backs
I'll bring it.
and wide receivers.
Love it.
Pre-draft, way too early.
Way too early.
But we're going to do it. I mean, we've learned a lot this year.
Yeah.
If we looked at our top 5 coming into this season, and I looked at mine right now, It looks a lot different.
A lot different, right?
Yeah, like 6 months ago. So
CMC isn't there. Breece Hall isn't there.
No.
It looks a lot different.
Looks a lot different.
But also, if you follow us every Sunday, if you come to us for championship advice, and we in fact helped you win a championship or get pretty goddamn close, where you made some money, and guess what? Now you're playing with house money next year.
Yeah.
Smash the like, smash subscribe, man. Come watch us all the time.
Yeah.
We need to make some money to keep doing this.
Hey, and I just want to point out in the offseason, we did call a lot of big plays for players. I know for sure, just calling divisions.
Yeah.
No, I called the Rams to win that NFC West, and they wound up winning that. I think I don't know if you were there with me, Chargers, Denver, both to make the playoffs this year, and they both did. They got bounced, but they did make the playoffs.
They did make it.
Called for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win their division. That looked good for about 12 weeks until it didn't. But, yeah, I mean, we throw a lot of good stuff out there. That could probably be helpful for some futures,
you know what?
too.
I'm still reeling a little bit. So on HRB, I threw in some beginning every year. It doesn't hurt, man. Throw $1, $2, pick every division winner. 7 out of 8 I went because I forgot. I was trying to play the algorithm where you switch everything up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the Rams killed me. I had the Rams on like 5 others.
Yeah.
But on the 7 out of 8 that hit, I had San Fran winning that division. Had I remembered or even looked into it and parlayed the Rams, it would have hit for like 5 G's.
Oh, man, that sucks. That's a bad beat.
That is a bad beat. It's brutal. I picked every other division.
All right. Well, talking about the Rams, there was a guy that made a lot of people's top 5 come into the season. Kyron Williams. We're going to get right into the running backs. I think it's probably best if we go countdown style. You say your 5, your 5th.
Yeah.
I say my 5th, 4th, so on and so forth. We may cross-section some places, but I think it'll work out well. So
cross streams, baby.
We'll go right into it. You could just tell us why. You don't have to go super in depth unless you feel like it. But Who's your 5th running back in fantasy for 2025?
Right. So 5 is a shock. Trust me. Get him. Get him early because he's not going to be there. By the end of round 3, he's gone. Tampa Bay's offense looks amazing. They figured out Rachaad White isn't the guy. Bucky Irving, in the limited amount of play that he got, Bucky Irving wasn't a bona fide piece of that offense until probably just shy of midway through the season, and put up almost 1,200 rushing yards. Bucky Irving comes in at my number 5 running back off the board next year for his pass catching, his playmaking, and just straight up running prowess in this offense. Tampa Bay, again, is going to be manned by Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans is going to look for his 12th straight season with 1,000 yards. Chris Godwin comes back, hopefully, from that freak injury. They've got an offense. They made the playoffs. They look good. They're one muffed snap away from playing in the divisional round next week. And this offense looks great. And Bucky Irving is my running back 5 next year.
I can't say I disagree with anything you're saying. I love Bucky Irving. Loved him coming into the season. I thought Rachaad White would have more of a stranglehold just because of the production the year before, but I think the coaching staff seen what they had in Bucky Irving. They leaned into it, and I think they were better for it. I think if they had that realization earlier in the season, they may have had a better playoff seating spot.
The wiggle is real.
I like Bucky Irving there. But my number 5 guy, maybe a shock, maybe not. It's King Henry for me. I think King Henry last 2 years, we slept on him a bit. He's made me a believer again that maybe age is nothing but a number.
Just a number.
Perfect situation for him in Baltimore. Harbaugh wants to run the ball. He has to run the ball with Derrick Henry there. Lamar Jackson in the fold. They're RPOing people to death, and he's just a hammer. I like him in that offense. They're going to be good again, and I look for him to kind of put up the same production. I think it's easy for me to go with Derrick Henry here.
You know what? It's so easy that I have him at number 4. It's funny that you had him at 5.
That's funny.
Derrick Henry is my number 4 back off the board. Why? Because the guy is going to produce. Look at the guy's work ethic, man. You see the tape. You see him in the gym. You see his offseason production. You know who else did that? Jerry Rice did that. Walter Payton did that. And we're talking about they're two of the all-time greats. Derrick Henry puts in the work. And I tell you what, low key, from a fantasy perspective, I kind of want to see Baltimore bounce in either the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Why? No. Because it's going to be the fire in the belly of King Henry. King Henry on a championship team might pump the brakes a little bit, right? Going in the next season. I don't know how big he is at this point, having his chip on his shoulder, like, let's go back and repeat. Mm-hmm. King Henry on a team that can win the championship and they don't win this year. Shit, man. What's above a king? A God Henry next year if Baltimore does not win the championship. Look at him. I mean, that run the other night, the 44-yard touchdown scamper. The dude just flat out runs away from DBs. It's disgusting.
I love the scamper.
How old is he? 32, 33? He flat out runs away from younger, healthier defensive backs. The guy is a freak of nature.
Well, the thing that is the reason I think it works so well, okay? I was a fan. Let me give you a little context here. These big backs, I had one as a Giants fan in Brandon Jacobs.
Yes.
Brandon Jacobs ran a 4.5. He's a fast guy. They're big men. They need to get into stride.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why Jacobs was successful when he was is because the offensive line play. I think for King Henry, he was good in spite of not great surroundings in Tennessee. Now, they did have a solid line. But I think with Lamar Jackson there, it holds people up just enough for Henry to get into stride, get that 1-2 step and hit the hole. And he is a load to deal with. I mean,
absolutely,
it's something to see. And he's still relatively fresh for the usage. I mean, he looks fresh, hasn't been banged up too much. When he came into the league, he was behind DeMarco Murray for quite a bit. And that, put some extra tread on the tires. I think people forget about that because DeMarco Murray was an animal when Henry came into the league, and Henry really didn't play much.
At Alabama, he sat behind, I think it was Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there wasn't, he got, and we've highlighted this year after year after year. I'm a big proponent of highlighting this every year because Derrick Henry came into the NFL with a little bit less tread on the tires than a little bit more tread on the tires than everybody else because he got a chance to sit. He got a chance to see. And he's very, very intelligent. And I'm telling you what, I don't mind the Josh Jacobs comparison other than if you look at physique. And again, it's a different time, right? Yeah. I mean, if you grow up in the age where, fitness is like an ultimate, it's the penultimate goal everybody strives for nowadays, right? There's so many metrics out there that get you more and more and more in shape. Had Josh Jacobs had that, maybe Josh Jacobs did look like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's a cut above, man. Derrick Henry is just that.
You're saying Brandon Jacobs.
Huh?
Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah, who did I
say?
say?
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, no,
Brandon Jacobs. Yeah, as far as a specimen, way different. But I think the prototype for a back that size, probably haven't seen one that big since before him, like Earl Campbell.
Yeah,
Eddie George. Eddie George is close.
Eddie George is big.
Yeah, but just barreling guys, physical. I mean, I miss having a player like that on my team. But it's funny, you went Henry there. I went Henry before. I have Bucky Irvin at 4.
Damn.
Right? Yeah. Let me just say this to everybody out there. Mark my words. Bucky Irving is a 4-down back. Bucky Irving is a bell cow.
Yep.
Bucky Irvin can catch, run, block, do everything you want. Bucky Irvin is going to be that guy next year, barring injury. Go get him if you could get him. He's the total package. I love the offense. Mike Evans is still going to be there. Hopefully, they bring Godwin back in the fold. But I trust the front office in Tampa Bay. They've been putting a good product on the field for quite a while now.
Yeah.
I think the offense will be fine. Baker Mayfield is comfortable. They know what they're doing. They're going to go into next season. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. I love Bucky Irvin. I didn't want to go crazy when you said it, because I wanted to make my own points. But, man, I love Bucky Irvin.
I tell you what, man, I just got goosebumps because you know what? We must be doing something right. Kudos to us, man. We got a finger on the pulse of what's going on.
We could have planned that better.
We did not communicate this whatsoever. No. And that just means that, we're truly breaking down statistics. We're truly analyzing not only statistics, but also film. And when I say the wiggle's real, Bucky Irvin, watch the games. This guy has one of those sights, the vision that you don't see in a whole lot of backs, man.
He reminds me of running backs of old. Just a guy that could do everything. You need him on the field.
He right now, he's a juvenile Saquon Barkley.
He reminds me of him without as much speed, but
but it's the vision, man. It's like it's seeing the cut before it happens. And that game the other night, I single-handedly thought that Bucky Irvin was going to get them out of trouble and win that game for them. I really did.
Do yourself a favor, go on YouTube, search up Bucky Irvin highlights 2024, and have fun.
Almost 1,200 yards, dude, and he wasn't the guy until what, week 7?
Yeah,
it blows my mind.
Yeah. All right, who's your third?
But speaking of week 7, thereabouts, the only reason why I don't have this guy ranked higher is because I'm still worried about his running mate, Monty, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs. You want to talk about a back that has it all.
Yeah. Complete
package. The guy was 3rd or 4th in rushing and had Monty still in the top 15 of rushing, even with the time missed. You know, he conceded some goal line carries, obviously, to Monty, conceded some goal line targets, you know, to obviously the bigger wide receivers. But you want to talk about a guy that, you know, we talk about wide receivers that can stretch the field. Jahmyr Gibbs can stretch the field as a running back. And guess what? I don't know if you heard or not, but Dan Campbell, pretty goddamn good. Hates the punt. Guy loves to get his playmakers in space, and he's done it with Jameson Williams, and he's doing it with Jahmyr Gibbs. If, for whatever reason, if Monty, let's just say this. I have him at 3. Mm-hmm. If there is a preseason injury to Monty, to David Montgomery, Gibbs shoots up to number 1 for me, without a doubt. This Detroit offense is clicking. They are built to win now. They might win now, and Jahmyr Gibbs is that dude. Get Jahmyr Gibbs as early and as often as you can.
Well, wow. I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 3 as well, man. And here's what I'll say. I don't have the concerns as much with Monty. I love Monty. I'm interested to see what happens with him and the Lions going forward. The reports are he's going to be back this week, right? From the MCL. That's what I just read.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe he has a setback, but I feel like the Lions have seen Jahmyr Gibbs' solo show. I think you got to lean into the solo show.
I'm buying tickets.
There he is. He proves me wrong. I wasn't sure he could be a 3-down back. I mean, another offseason in the weight room, put on a little bit of muscle. I think this guy, I mean, man, we're talking about a LaDainian Thompson style back.
That's a good comparison.
You know, there's something about him. I don't know, man. Like, you don't need a Patrick Mahomes. You could ride with a Jared. It does remind me of another early 2090s style football team with your pocket passer, not dual threat, and just like Marshall Faulk Tomlinson kind of guy.
Yeah.
Just could. I mean, it's just crazy how he attacks or threatens. This is a big thing with him. He threatens parts of the field, and I think that's what makes them so unique on offense.
You can't play him because even if you try to cheat 1 iota, he will beat you to the corner. Yeah. He's that fast. You know, that's a good comparison with LaDainian because LaDainian was great at one thing, and LaDainian Tomlinson is probably my second favorite running back of all time behind Walter Payton. LaDainian, the second he hit the hole, you knew he was gone.
Yeah.
As soon as he got past, linebackers didn't stand a chance. If linebackers weren't in the hole ready to try to take him on, they didn't stand a chance. And DBs already didn't have the angle.
Yeah,
LaDainian was
outrun
gone.
angles, yeah.
Was gone. Jahmyr Gibbs is the same way. Jahmyr Gibbs hits the hole, and I get it. Linebackers, DBs, they're a lot faster nowadays, right? You know, let's just say, and this is going to sound crazy, but there's a lot more Ronnie Lotts now than there used to be, right?
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I mean, the DBs are there. They're fast guys. They're bigger guys. They're taught better angles. Jahmyr Gibbs don't give a shit. Jahmyr Gibbs hits the hole. He's gone. He's got a gear you don't have.
I like that. Well, we're there. Mano simpatico here.
Mano simpatico y simpatico.
All right, who you got at 2 then?
Oh, who I got at 2? You want to talk about a guy that can hit a gear? Let's talk about him. Bijan Robinson.
This is crazy.
Is a dude that
That's my number 2.
This is a dude that hits a gear that other people just don't have. You talk about Bucky being a 4-down back.
Yeah.
Bijan's a 5-down back.
Yeah.
All right. If there's a penalty, right, and they accept it, and you got that extra play, and it's fucking 3rd and 23, 4th and 23. Guess what? You get the ball into the hands of Bijan Robinson. All bets are off, man. He might be picking it up. Bijan Robinson is absolutely incredible. The stats were fantastic this year, but even better than that, watch the film. Bijan was on another level. Bucky Irvin looked amazing. Jahmyr Gibbs looked amazing. Derrick Henry looked amazing. Bijan Robinson has something that I can talk about it, but it doesn't give it any justice until you look. This dude has got hop in the hole. You talk about vision and just prowess. I watched this guy literally change his mind 3 different times before hitting a hole and running for like 50 yards. Like, it's absolutely outstanding. The guy is just heads and tails above anybody else when it comes to decision making when the time comes, right?
Sounds
so like hitting the hole, and I was looking for better points of emphasis, but had Atlanta's offense been a little bit better, right? The turmoil between Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, you still got to get Drake London the ball. For whatever reason, you don't get Kyle Pitts the ball. Maybe year 8 tight end breakout year for Kyle Pitts coming up in 2 short seasons. Bijan's it. Bijan is absolutely it. And we even saw we saw a decrease in Tyler Allgeier's production this year because of just how dominant Bijan was in the second season.
Also because Arthur Smith left town. But, yeah, I mean, like I have Bijan it too. I mean, there's not a lot more I can say. It's just the guy's a freak of nature. With Penix in the fold, I think they're going to have to lean into Bijan being the center of the offense. And I think that's going to do well for the team. And Bijan is just going to be It's going to be a great year for running backs next year, barring injuries, because I think all of these guys I'm excited about. I just don't see any downside with Bijan Robinson at all.
I don't either.
No holes in the game, nothing he can't do, and he has the potential to really be like a league winner next year. So who's your number one?
No, you know what? I've been stealing your thunder all show. I want to give you the I want to give you
it's fine.
It's
crazy though.
I want to give you the chance here to say you're number one, and then I'll piggyback off of you.
Great timing. Reluctantly, my number one is, so this is one of those hindsight things. As things unfold and you see things for what they are, and the wool is pulled from your eyes, and you've
been unshamed.
Saquon Barkley is just in the perfect situation, and man, when you see what he's doing with Philadelphia, it really puts into perspective how much of a dumpster fire the Giants front office has been since they fired Jerry Reese and let go of Tom Coughlin. Man, this guy looks every bit the second overall pick in the draft. I think he has for sure another year, maybe 2 at peak. He's set up with a young offense, good pieces on the O-line. They're not going anywhere. And I was listening to Sal Paolantonio earlier today talking about just the effect he's had since going there. He is the leader in the locker room, he said, for the whole team.
Yep.
They're following his cue. He is the guy, more so than Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown and even Jalen Hurts. He is the guy they look to and take their cue from. He's going to be the center of the offense. He had a freaking crazy year, and I don't think that it's crazy to think he can have an equal one next year. Now, the only issue with Saquon is it's going to cost you a whole hell of a lot to get him. He's going to be a consensus number 1 pick, I think, for sure next year. And I don't know how you get your hands on him if you don't have that pick, but there's no way you don't take Saquon Barkley.
He is absolutely the 1-1 next year. He has supplanted.
I mean, God, he looks good.
Oh, in my mind, right?
Everything I wanted him to be.
Everything. I know. It's got to be tough for you. It really does. And my heart goes out. But here's the thing, is that I don't know that I've seen a more dominant 1-1 for as many years as I had CMC. I am more looking forward to procuring any 1-1 picks in redraft leagues next year because Saquon Barkley is the greatest 1-1 overall pick now of all time. Whoa. For every reason that you mentioned. Not to mention, the dude is an absolute class act. That guy could have ripped off that 60-yard tutty last night. Yeah. And you're 2 days, what's today? Tuesday? 2 days ago, could have ripped off that 60-yard tutty. And what did he do? High football IQ move. He even said it. So everybody, every casual, well, yeah, you got to do it because he might fumble or, God forbid, you give him back the ball and now they have, now they're operating the clock. Yeah. No, he went galaxy brain on you, and he said, what if I pull a hammy? Yeah. What if one of my guys that is coming downfield to block for me gets critically injured? There goes one of our offensive linemen through the playoff push. Yeah. Holy shit. Saquon Barkley, actually, I feel like the Grinch right now when it comes to Philadelphia. I feel like my heart just got 3 times bigger.
I don't feel like that.
I hate Philadelphia. I hate everything Philadelphia except for the food, right? Fat guy, love the food. But I tell you what, Saquon is bringing class to that city. And you want to say, leader in the locker room, I think it's obvious. I don't know who else would be a leader in that locker room other than possibly Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. But don't listen to me right now. I think Philly might actually part ways with A.J. Brown next year. I think they're going to get rid of anybody that is detrimental to the psyche that's going on in Philadelphia right now. Yeah. Saquon has got them believing. You can go out and you can get a wide receiver equally as dynamic as A.J. Brown with a little bit less diva. But let's hope that, that book reading the other day was not sarcasm, and maybe that's actually him trying to bring himself in. Maybe him trying to realize, hey, I'm a part of something special here in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. I want them to lose.
I do too, but...
A fiery disaster. But I will say, like I said, I'll eat my humble pie. The last couple seasons, I thought Saquon lost a step, and it really was just... terrible offensive line play and offensive weapons.
It's big of you.
Coaching and general managing. I mean, think of how Joe Shane laughed off Saquon Barkley, and John Mara said he would lose sleep. And my God, we're all losing sleep because this guy is going nuts.
What was the quote? We don't lose much in bringing in a Devin Singletary. I think was the quote.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Cope harder, man. I was coping.
you could not have shanked that tee shot any further, Joe Shane.
Listen, I'm a fan. When you're a fan, you gotta cope. You gotta find ways to cope. You gotta talk yourself into it, or else what are we doing? But man, what a colossal! I mean, this is turning into a different episode, but not to mention Xavier McKinney being an all-pro safety going to Green Bay. He didn't re-sign either of these guys. For what? You know what we spent that money on?
Yeah, Devin Singletary
and Drew Lock, who they didn't start when they let go.
How many sacks did Burns have? Bringing in Burns and then signing him.
9.
Respectable.
That's who he is. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
For $30 million is a little bit of an overpay on the contract, but I mean, that it was okay. But anyway. So let's get to our wide receivers. We gotta move a little faster. To wide receivers.
I'm gonna let you go first.
I'm gonna go first here. I think we're gonna be different though. But all right. So wide receivers. Listen, I'll preface this with there's a lot of ways to go here. I think there's a consensus on a few guys. There might be some surprises on my list, but I think for the most part, if you see the vision, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll start it off real quick. Another piece of humble pie for the kid. Last season, I did not like this guy. Didn't see the future for him. Overrated, all those things. This year, I'm a believer. I've seen the light. Terry McLaurin is my number 5. He finished as wide receiver 6 in most formats this season. And that was with a slow start. Jaden Daniels coming to the league, just learning to throw the ball down the field. I think their relationship and chemistry continues to grow. I think Terry McLaurin, at least for this next season, is firmly back into the top 5.
I don't hate the pick. I do think that we're going to get some sophomore regression from Jaden Daniels.
It's possible.
I don't think Washington really set him up to be a quarterback in a second place in your division team that's going to be playing cream of the crop defenses next year.
I feel like that you always overrate that schedule thing. And it's like 2 to 3 games.
I might, but I mean, we've seen quarterbacks that are run-first quarterbacks get planned against, right? And they get planned straight out of the NFL.
That's true.
Now, Jaden Daniels has an arm, and Jaden Daniels, you know what? That game against Tampa Bay, he made some really, really good decisions. He looked very poised. And maybe he's playing with the confidence that he didn't have the pressure of being the first quarterback overall selected. So maybe that works well for him. I think he does take a step back next year. Terry McLaurin might suffer from that, but I don't think it's a terrible pick. I'm going to go with your boy.
Thanks, man.
Malik Neighbors. For what he had to deal with at garbage at quarterback this year, Malik Neighbors was the guy. And again, I'm big. You're big on watching game tape. This guy just gets the ball. He doesn't care. He looks to me like he's setting himself up to be a future diva just because he's so dominant at going to get the ball. But God damn it, you bring in a good quarterback. Don't go out and draft a rookie quarterback. I don't want to see you draft a rookie quarterback. I don't believe in this crop at all. I don't think this group of quarterbacks coming in is the group of quarterbacks that you can really say, we got our guy.
Yeah.
You need to go out and you need to get a guy that's still relatively fresh, that understands the NFL, that can be very productive. You know, I'm going to throw a couple of names out here. You're going to probably laugh, but Justin Fields, Jameis Winston, guys that know what to do and how to get the ball in the hands of a playmaker like Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
And provided that his quarterbacks aren't friggin' Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, and that idiot that you shipped to Minnesota, Malik Neighbors.
That's not fair.
This is his floor, man.
Yeah.
This is his absolute floor. Malik Neighbors is going to be, I'm talking 160 targets minimum next year. And he's probably going to, he might threaten the completion. He might threaten the season-long completion record next year.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. I love Neighbors. I'll talk about him soon. That's all I'll say.
Oh, damn.
Right, but at number 4, I'm going to go a little bit of different direction here. We talked about that idiot getting shipped out, and he got shipped to Minnesota. And I'm going to talk about Justin Jefferson, who I think is just a fixture here in the top 5 for the next few years. Only question marks I have with Jefferson coming off that wild card performance from Sam Darnold is, who's the quarterback next year? Is it still Darnold? Is it
JJ McCarthy?
JJ McCarthy?
Is it Danny Dimes?
Is it Danny Dimes? I really don't know who it is, right? So it just leaves me a little mystified as far as what that's going to look like. But on sheer talent alone and probably target share, I still got to put him top 5. I think you're pretty safe bet going and getting him.
We'll talk about Justin Jefferson a little bit.
Yeah.
But before I get to Justin Jefferson, I'm going to talk about my number 4 is a guy that averaged 90 yards a game, third in the NFL. He only played 11 games due to an injury that he came out of camp with. If Puka Nacua isn't on your radar as a top 5 wide receiver, stop playing fantasy football now.
Well, I guess I'm stopping.
I'm just telling you, because Puka Nacua, if you watched that game last night, Puka Nacua is the focal point of this offense.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp, a year older. Kyron Williams, we saw what you get with Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is at the top of serviceable backs, right?
Yes.
He is. I tried telling you his rookie year, I thought Kyron Williams was going to be special. He ended up taking a back seat to Ronnie Brown and the other guy that they had there. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yep.
Doesn't matter. Richard, no, I forget. Anyway, Puka Nacua, they look to him often. And there's a reason why. The guy never has a defender on him. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if it's some sort of Hawaiian mystical magic that he uses, but he Moanas himself into every open space in the field.
Wow.
And let me tell you, the dude is for real. And FYI, when he gets the ball, he hits you like a train. The guy
he's very
is not
Hines Wardish.
He is not afraid to put his head down and just get after it.
I do like that about his game.
Oh, my God. I watched the other night. There was like 4 or 5 times that he was tackled, and he still pushed for 2 to 3 to 4 extra yards. Yeah. That's what you're getting out of Puka Nacua. But the other side of that coin, he can flat out fly. And he gets open on a lot of fly patterns. He gets open on a lot of crossing routes. And Puka Nacua should be on your radar for top 5 wide receivers next year. Undoubtedly.
All right, let's clean that up. A little too long, right? All right, so my third guy, I'm going to talk about Neighbors now. Malik Neighbors broke team records for receptions. Target shares out the wazoo. Didn't have legitimate throwers all season.
Say that again.
Legitimate throwers.
Didn't have, right?
Didn't have. Yeah, why?
Okay. Just making sure.
Oh, you're an idiot. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, look, no matter who they throw back there this year, things are looking up. Okay. Malik Neighbors is just a guy. I mean, he belongs in this class. The names we're throwing him around with. He is an issue. He is always open. He's strong. He's explosive. He reminds me, out of all of these guys, he reminds me the most of Jamar Chase. I think their game, their body, just the control they have of their body, their strength at the point. I love Malik Neighbors. I'm excited to see what he could do with a professional quarterback. So Malik Neighbors at number 3, breakout season. I think you're going to see more of what you saw. I sound like my grandfather. Saw. More of what you saw the first 4 weeks of the season before he was injured throughout most of the season next year.
I think with Malik Neighbors, I almost feel like you get a faster Mike Evans. I think he's very physical. He high points. He's open and he's reliable. I really like Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
he's
something.
You can't go wrong.
He's a lot of fun.
My 3 is a guy that he bowed out at the end of the year. All right. I think partly because Dallas said, you know what, let's shut him down. CeeDee Lamb. He gets Dak back next year, right? Hopefully Dak is healthy. He's obviously going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's not going to sit well with where they finished this year, with the Commanders finishing ahead of them and not challenging Philly for that division. Dak is going to look to CeeDee Lamb very often, and CeeDee is going to produce. CeeDee was doing it even with the bum shoulder, man. Even those games where like he was obviously not at 100%, he was still dominant. The guy just gets open. The guy beats corners. He beats defensive backs. He beats double coverage. He beats man press. He beats absolutely everything. Linebackers can't hang with him. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the focal point of Dallas again next year, and CeeDee Lamb, again, don't hesitate to take him. Do not hesitate to take him in the middle of the first round.
I totally agree, and that's why I have him as my wide receiver too. CeeDee Lamb is still CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott, even though he sucks in the playoffs, is still good in the regular season, and they will be productive. Do not trick yourself into thinking anything other than that, and hopefully he'll be at a reduced cost this year. Go get CeeDee Lamb, my wide receiver too. Okay, who's your guy?
That's a great point. Right now, I am starving for the drafts that
To start, yeah.
I pick towards the end of the first round, and I get like 10, 11, and CeeDee Lamb falls to 10 or 11 because I am getting a top 4 overall pick for a total discount.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 2, I told you we were going to talk about Justin Jefferson. I think you hit all the key points. You know, here's what I don't mind. I really don't give a shit who's the signal caller in Minnesota next year. If you saw Malik Neighbors do what he did in his rookie season with what they had at quarterback, Justin Jefferson is 3 more years experience, 4 more years experience, whatever he is. The guy is an unrivaled seasoned professional. The guy gets open. The guy, even when he doesn't, catches the ball. I don't care who's throwing him the ball next year. I do hope it's JJ McCarthy. I think that they're going to do JJ right, and I think he's going to come in and he's really going to rely on Justin Jefferson. And he's got a great ensemble too. He's got Addison, he's got Hawkinson. Aaron Jones said that he doesn't want to play anywhere else for the rest of his career. He wants to finish his career out in Minnesota. And guess what? I think you guys hit on something there. I think he finishes the 8th overall back in scrimmage yards. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, man, again, I mean, there's not much to say, right?
Yeah. That's one of the points for me, though, is that Neighbors, Lamb, there's not a lot around them. Like, Lamb is going to get targeted heavily because they have to. Neighbors, there's nobody around him. Jefferson still has Addison, has TJ, right? And then they have Jones. So I feel like there's just, and even Naylor came on a little bit. I think there's more targets that they're going to get spread around there.
The only thing that worries me, Jerry Jones is bringing somebody else in this year. Jerry Jones is getting toward. Jerry Jones has been on the back 9 for a very long time.
Yeah, they'll bring some. You're probably right. All right, so my number 1, obviously, haven't said his name yet. Well, maybe not so obviously, but Jamar Chase is my number 1. I mean, historic season here with Joe Burrow. Talk about fire in your belly, chip on your shoulder. Those guys are going to come out on fire next year. I don't think we have the same Cincinnati slow start that we've had the last few years. think Joe Burrow is going to be tossing darts. Jamar Chase is just going to be being Jamar Chase. And my comparison with him to Neighbors is, unlike Evans, I do think they're both faster but strong. There's just something when you watch a guy that looks sturdy. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know
there's
exactly.
certain wide receivers where they catch the ball
Julio
and you
Jones.
feel like I could shake this guy off of me and break out. And certain guys are not like that. Like I think Jefferson's just a shake guy, you know.
Yeah.
But Jamar Chase is a stiff arm and shake guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I see with Neighbors too. But I mean, there's Jamar Chase. If Barkley's 1-1, Chase is 1-2, 1-3 maybe. I don't know how far down you're going without getting to Chase.
So Barkley, I almost alluded to this earlier, and I was like, nope, save it for the end of the show. Barkley and Chase should be 1-2 next year without a doubt. When you say sturdy, Jamar Chase is the epitome of sturdiness, right? I said Julio Jones, but I think it's. I don't even know. I love Julio. I think Julio would have had a hell of a lot more touchdowns in a different scenario. I still don't know that Julio has the talent that Jamar Chase has.
It's different. It's different, to cut you off. It's different archetypes with these guys. Like a Julio is more, to me, in the mold of a Terrell Owens, lankier, strong guys. But Jamar Chase, Neighbors, to me, they're strong, but they're explosive.
Yeah.
Like they could be as strong as a Owens or Julio, but they could move like a Jefferson.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's special about them.
And I do. And the reason why I said earlier that Neighbors will challenge the reception mark is because, mark my words, Jamar Chase is going to set it next year. Jamar Chase, you hit the nail on the head. You think these guys aren't pissed that they didn't make the playoffs in the final week of the season? These guys came back from a very terrible start to put it all together. And if you remember correctly, there was a little bit of turmoil. Jamar Chase didn't practice as much as he should have in the preseason, right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
And he still put up the numbers. Imagine what a reinvigorated, paid Chase gets to look like next season.
They're going to be scary next year.
Oh, my God. And then you have somebody like T. Higgins on the other side. You can't even cheat. You can't even cheat to Jamar's side of the field because T. Higgins is... T. Higgins is probably should be a top 10 wide receiver if he was somewhere else as the number one.
I agree.
But he's the top 20 still, and he plays on the same damn team.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase is going to set the world ablaze. Saquon Barkley 1-1, Jamar Chase 1-2. 1-3 is a bit of a toss-up for me. It would definitely be between Bijan and Jettas. But
yeah, Bijan Lamb for me, but yeah, same-ish.
Quick honorable mention. Outside of those 10 that we just named, who's the next guy that you would come off the board with?
Running back, next guy man. I was thinking about quite a few guys. It's escaping me right now. Who you got? You go, because I can't
Jonathan
remember.
Taylor. Jonathan Taylor redeemed himself.
Jonathan Taylor.
I think next year, I
said that this year. Well, you're saying now I said that about this year.
Indianapolis could very easily move off of Anthony Richardson. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think they're going to.
And Jonathan Taylor, I tell you what, him dropping that ball at the goal line, he looked like a different dude afterwards because Jonathan Taylor is not that guy. Jonathan Taylor is not the guy to drop the ball before the end zone.
No, he's not.
He's not. And I tell you what, I think next year, I think he's going to atone for those mistakes. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a huge year next year.
Man, who would be my next guy? I think
Could be running back or wide receiver. Just your next guy.
my next guy would probably be. It would probably either be Puka or I'm trying to think of a running back. I mean, I thought about Breece Hall. I just don't believe it right now.
I don't either.
CMC maybe, but I don't know if you could trust that. He was so banged
I can't
up
trust
this year.
it.
Who would you have at running back next?
After JT?
I don't think I'd have JT. I'm still skeptical on JT. I thought about Mixon. Mixon could still, but I don't know if that's just a one-year thing.
Mixon looks good in that offense. If I'm being honest, I am really, really, really curious to see where Ashton Jeanty goes.
Yeah.
Because I think he's right in that area where
it feels like a Dallas pick.
if somebody doesn't overextend for Jainty in the top 10, he's going to fall to one of these fringe or early round playoff teams. Ashton Jainty in Denver, let me just tell you, open the record books.
In record, you said where?
In Denver. You get him in a situation like that where there's really not a guy and they need the guy, you know. I would say Cincinnati. I think Chase Brown is serviceable. I don't think he's the dude. You get him in Cincinnati, but again, you know, their prowess is the pass. Denver is not necessarily a pass team, and we've seen what running backs can do at Mile High. We've seen what they can do. Shanahan every year insert dude 1,000-yard rusher. Ashton Jainty will, I think, open the record books. He's going to be something special in his league.
You know what? I'm sad I didn't say this. James Cook. I think James Cook has had an under-the-radar season.
16 regular season tutties, man.
Finishes 16 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards rushing, 32 receptions, 250 yards receiving. Man.
I just think too many people are going to be on him next year. Gone are the days of getting 4th and 5th round James Cook. They're gone.
Yeah, this is the last year.
You have to spend the 2nd round pick on James Cook.
All right, guys. Well, that's the show. Hopefully you enjoyed. That's our way too early pre-draft top 5 wide receivers and running backs. If you disagree, if you agree, please leave it in the comments below. Go to our TikTok at GON Podcast. Go to the YouTube Guys On Network, the GON Pod. We're talking about Guys On Draft. We're talking about Guys On Sports. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And make sure you check in with us so you can get your team right. We love you. Peace.